When I was a kid, fractions made me nervous, and I would love to make fractions feel friendly for you. So let's begin a fraction artwork. Today, we're just painting 4 art papers.
Hello, my talented artists. First thing you always do is write your name on the back of the paper. Make a little shape and write your secret code on the back of the paper, whatever that is. And because we're going to be painting, we're going to get our table color. If you're at green, use green. Red, use red. And color in that shape with your table color. Put your crayon back. We want to do that kind of fast. As you know, we don't have a lot of time for all our fun stuff in art. Okay, we are going to divide this 8 by 8 inch paper into 4 by 4 inch squares by folding. Now, I do have to tell you that I probably didn't cut this paper perfectly. So you might get a little bit frustrated if it doesn't line up perfectly, but it's part me, part our cutting board. Fold it as neatly as you can. Start from the middle, pull your finger back till these parts pop out, and then make a nice crisp fold, always rubbing from the center out. You're gonna open it up and fold it the other way. Hopefully you have 4 squares that are approximately the same size. Hopefully you'll have 4 squares that are approximately the same size. If we consider the paper as a whole, each square is 1/4 of the paper. Now you're gonna have a little fun. This is gonna be the share paint. It will be in the middle of the table, and this is gonna be the one you're going to mix in. This is a little broken, so I'm not gonna use that. And what you're gonna do is you are going to start by scooping the paint, and I would get a fair bit of paint. Now, if you're gonna mix into yellow, be sure to start with just adding a little bit of the darker paint, because yellow will change with just a little paint real quickly. So if you get to a color you like, I got to this pale orange or dark yellow pretty quickly. You're ready to paint the first square. When you're painting the square, make sure that you get all the white parts. I highly suggest outlining your square first, but after you outline it, you can think about your brush stroke. I want you to make a new color for each square. But then guess what? If you want to, I'm gonna let you experiment. You can take another color. I'm just gonna take a little bit and I'm gonna dab that on and kind of blend it. This is a day for experimenting with brush stroke and with color mixing. Now this tempera paint is temperamental, and you really can't have lumps, so you do have to smooth out the lumps. I see I have a ridge here, so I'm gonna try to sweep that paint flat. And once I've done that, I'm ready to, I still see some white. So I wanna make sure I go over the whole square with paint. I don't want lumps, but I also don't want to see any white spaces. If you want to switch colors to a color that's very different from your first color, then you should wash your brush. Now, when we wash our brush, we don't want to do it fast because we have a lot of other artists around us, and we want to make sure that we don't splatter. I like to hold the bowl and then press my brush on the bottom, like I'm sweeping the bottom of the bowl. No, not like that. And then you can scrape the water out of your brush. Pretend this is my messy paper. You can kind of sweep out some of the water onto your messy paper, and then you're ready to make another color. So I really like that pink. Let me see what I can do. I am adding pink to a yellowy color, which means I didn't really have to wash my brush because pink is a form of red, and red and yellow are both primary colors. You can also take a look at the color wheel. If a color is next to another color, you definitely don't need to wash your brush. And if you mix two primary colors together, you don't need to wash your brush. I'm thinking about adding another color to this color to change it even more. I'm looking at my color wheel. If I pick blue, it's going to mute it. If I pick a lot of blue, it's going to become a brown, which could be beautiful. The only two colors that I could use are the colors next to orange, red and yellow, if I don't want it to mute the color. But maybe I want to mute my color. That means make it less vibrant. My color already has yellow in it, so if I look directly across from yellow, I see purple. So I think I might just add purple to mute it a little. And by muting it, I mean you're adding a color that contains this color's complement. So the complement of orange is blue and purple has blue. And the complement of yellow is purple. You can look at the color wheel and find a color's complement by looking directly across from the color. That's how you find complementary color pairs if you want to mute your colors. And actually, look at that beautiful muted color I made. I love it. And it is definitely different from my first color. Again, you're going to outline your square. Slow and low. That is the tempo. If you want to be neat, you gotta go slow. I went over a little bit onto this square, but it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just human. Now I'm gonna smooth this out. And I'm gonna do a little circle brush stroke. See what that looks like. Ooh, I like it. When you're smoothing out the edges, always slow down. But when you're doing the brush stroke inside, you can get a little bit faster. So now it's time for my next one. Now these are two warm colors. I want there to be high contrast in my color scheme. So I'm gonna do two cool colors. You could do all shades of blue or all shades of one color. That's a monochromatic color scheme. Doesn't have to be blue. You could do only complementary colors. You could do colors that are next to each other on the color wheel that harmonize. So just pick the colors you like. But I'm switching completely. So I'm going to start with a blue. But remember, I have to mix a new blue. You can't make blue, but you can change blue. I'm gonna take a little purple, see what I can do here. Okay, that's a different color. Because this brush has so much paint, I'm gonna twirl it in the center and then I'm gonna make my outline. And I think that will avoid that lumpy ridge on the end. Ugh, it's so boring to watch the teacher paint, so I'm gonna speed up this video so that you can get to your painting time. The goal is to have 4 different colors and to make sure that you've covered all the white of the paper and smoothed out all those lumps. Experiment with brush stroke. You can see I'm doing a stamping brush stroke right now. So I guess the hardest part is when we get close to the edge here because I don't want to paint on top of that blue. You know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of using my brush as a stamp. I'm not moving it so much. I'm trying to get those little white dots without leaving a big chunky blob. So stamp and maybe a little wiggle. And when you're adding paint, just add a little bit to the tip. And now we're gonna go back to speeding up this video so that we can get to your turn. All right, I've made 4 different colors. I'm going to gently and slowly press my brush like I'm sweeping against the bottom of the water bowl to wash it. Clearly, you're still gonna need to wash it in the sink, but that begins that process. You can leave that brush in your bowl and you're gonna take your little painting and put it in the drying rack. Next week, fractions.